guys, welcome back to the arcade shop. So we've got a new to the shop tool here. This is a Freebie roadside trash heap tool find. One of my neighbor's buddies got a hold of him. He got a hold of me and said, "Hey, Roger found this boring bar, pulled it out of the scrap pile, actually a trash pile alongside the road. And what it was is a couple of the cities here in the area, they do an annual cleanup where people can just put stuff out on their curb or on the street, and the city will come by with front end loaders and just scoop everything up and haul it off and get rid of it for them. It's pretty interesting. You'll see these big piles accumulating, a couple of weeks ahead of time, and you wouldn't believe the stuff that ends up out there in front of people's houses. So anyways, he was heading to work or heading somewhere and saw this thing on one of those piles and recognized it immediately and hit the brakes and pulled over and wrestled it into his truck. But he didn't have any room to store it at his place. My neighbor didn't want it, so hey Dean, hey, you want this thing? Otherwise, he's gonna just take it in for scrap. So I go, yeah, let's go look at it. So I haven't seen one of these before. This is new to me. So what we've got here is it's a Kwik Way. I'm pretty sure it's a Model FS. The nameplate only has the manufacturer's name and that type of info. It doesn't have a model or serial number on it. So it's an engine cylinder boring machine, and this is the small one. It's a single speed machine. It has a power feed, no reverse, and this is from what I've been able to research, this is for small engines, air-cooled engines, motorcycle engines, and such. The main use that I've seen, just looking at videos and stuff on the internet, is motorcycle cylinders. And what they'll do is you'll have the cylinder removed from the engine, and they'll actually go in the table here. And the table has the centerpiece here can move up and down. You can clamp your cylinder in there with a couple parallels. And the boring head, it will auto feed through the cylinder and perform your boring operation. It can also be used in the field. It's made to bolt directly to an engine block or anything really that you need to bore out within its limited range. I was just guessing as to what the range was, and just looking at the radius here, it looks like it's maybe 3-inch to maybe 4.5-inch max for the boring range, depending on what cutter you put in it. So anyways, there it is. We'll get you in a little closer here. We'll do a walk around. And we'll fire it up and show you what we got. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this thing. I don't really do any engine work. I have in the past, but just for my own stuff, and it's not something that I really want to do. But it's kind of an interesting tool. So, anyways, let's have a look and see what you guys think. Okay, so all we have is an on-off switch and a feed crank. That's pretty much it for controls. Um, so you can manually feed. And it's got a pretty long stroke. We'll measure that in a minute here, see if we can figure out how much travel it actually has. But it's got quite a bit. And we've still got a ways to go, and I'm to the bottom of the table here. It's a little stiff at the top, but not bad. Okay, I've already locked down the cutter so that it won't come flying out here. All right, so she seems to run pretty good. And then here's the auto feed engagement. There's no adjustments to feed speed at all. Pretty much what you see is what you get. Other than, usual wear and tear and cosmetic dirt and that kind of thing, it seems to work fine. Why somebody would throw it on a scrap heap is beyond me, but their loss, our gain. And to disengage, just tighten this guy up, boom, and bring her back up. And doesn't seem to have any issues throughout the range. Seems to work pretty good. All right, so let's just do a walk around and then we'll zoom in on some of the details. So the boring bar itself is this top machine, and it's held onto this table with a T-slot arrangement, and you might be able to see it in there. This adjusting bolt here is what draws the T-slot up to secure the machine to the base or engine block, whatever you happen to be using it on. Okay, the table, at first we thought it was something somebody cobbled together, but it's actually part of the machine. It's one of the options, if you will. They had different types of tables depending on the size of the machine. So you've got this intermediate platform here on the table, and down on the bottom here, this hydraulic jack, and that is factory. Now the cart, I already had the cart, so that didn't come with it. And what you do is, by the way, this table is, what is that, about 1.25 inches thick solid plate. We got, that's about 5/8 there. And not the same down there. So the idea is you would take your small engine block, your air-cooled engine or motorcycle cylinder, and you'd place it in here on a couple of parallels, and then you would jack up this intermediate table and wedge it against the top plate, and that would hold your cylinder in, or engine block if it's a small engine. Now they also have a lapping wheel here on the back of the motor, and I didn't mention, but there was absolutely no tooling came with this machine. It came out of the scrap pile, so you get what you get. But they had some jigs that would slip over this rod and set the angle so that you could put the tool bits in to lap the tool bits. And this hole here is for a wick that you would drip in the lapping oil. I'm guessing that the lapping oil had some kind of diamond abrasive in it. Okay. All right, let's try the jack here. They have an extension that's on top of the jack, so it's actually retracted all the way right now. The table's going up. The legs on the table here, they need some polishing. They're pretty stiff, but it's not frozen, so that's a good thing. Okay. Okay, so here's the cutting head, and it's got a carbide tool bit in here, and it's in this this little carrier assembly, and then over here we've got the gib screw. Let's loosen that up, and this carrier. Try to keep my hand out of the way here. This carrier is spring loaded. Okay, and it'll come on out. So let's take a look at it here. So you can change cutting bits. They're just held in with an Allen screw. And same with the spring assembly. I think from what I've been able to find out is they had different size carriers, and they had different length tool bits, and maybe even different length spring assemblies. Yeah, so you could adjust, your bore size. Okay, so if we slide this back in, we get into the spring range here, the adjustment. And what they had, and I'm still trying to figure this out, I believe that this little guy right here, that this is a cover that I think pulls out and swings down, and then this portion right here is actually covering. There's a hole drilled back here that allows you to insert a special micrometer tool. That the face of the tool actually rides against the tip of your cutter. So you would pop in the tool, and its reference, I believe the detent is dead center of the boring bar, and the micrometer tool has direct reading indicators on it, for your bore size. So you would adjust the micrometer, and when you had it where you wanted it, then you would come back over here and tighten down the gib lock. Okay. So I got the cutter back in there, the gib tightened down. Like I mentioned before, I've never seen one of these before, so I've had to do the research. So I don't know how accurate my information is here, so please bear that in mind in case I'm steering everybody the wrong direction. The other feature that it has here is they've got there's 3 holes equally spaced, and what they're for is they had different size pins that you could put in, and these were used for centering the cutter within the bore of the cylinder. And if we come up here to the top, we've got, this looks like a drawbar that you would see on a milling machine, but what it does, it actually adjusts those pins. Let me, okay, so I put a Sharpie mark on this pin, and let me crank there we go. I'm cranking the adjustment up top here. So this was what I'm calling the drawbar nut up top. Yeah, you can see how they extend out. Now, from what I've researched, they had different length pins. So depending on what size
cylinder you're working with, you would select the proper pins so that you could center up the boring bar in the cylinder. And then you did that with the with this clamping bolt here loose, so that you could wiggle the machine around. And once you got it centered, you tighten down this clamping bolt, and it would secure the machine to either the table or the cylinder block, whatever you happen to be working on. Okay, there's also this automatic shutoff rod here. You can adjust your travel, and what it does, it comes down here and intersects the switch, so it'll actually hit this lever here and turn the power switch off. So other than squirting some oil and basically just wiping this thing down a bit, this is pretty much the way it came. A lot of surface rust. There's no pitting, but there's a fair amount of rust on the bar itself, but it doesn't seem to be affecting its operation. So just a little side note for everybody. It's been a super busy summer that involved with a bunch of home repair jobs, projects and so forth that got to get taken care of, while the weather's good and so forth. So probably won't have a lot of stuff coming out. I hope to be doing quite a few more videos this winter. Got a bunch of miscellaneous projects to work on, so just to give you an idea of what's going on, and hopefully be getting some more content out here in the future. I've also got some footage coming up, interview with a World War II vet, really interesting guy, P-51 Mustang fighter pilot, did 52 missions over in Europe, mainly Italy. It's not going to be rated PG, let me tell you that. He didn't hold back on much. So it'll be viewer discretion advised. So hopefully I'll have that coming out here in not too much longer. I still have to, I need to talk to his son and make sure that they're okay with posting the footage. I tried to explain to him, what I wanted to do and so forth, and he's 99 years old, and I don't know if he's even ever seen a YouTube video, but so there's, I got a little tricky legal logistic area there to work out, but I really want to get his story out there. It's pretty amazing. Okay, anyways, look forward to that coming up. All right, thanks.